If you have ever checked your testosterone and thought, nice, I'm at 800, my testosterone is perfect, this video will ruin that for you. Because total testosterone by itself is almost meaningless. I see guys with high T all the time, meanwhile they have low libido, no muscle, feeling tired, and they are just not getting the benefits high testosterone should offer for them, and they don't understand why. The problem isn't their testosterone, it's called sex hormone binding globulin. It decides basically how much testosterone can you actually use, how much builds muscle, how much will actually increase sex drive, or even converts into DHT or estradiol, which are also crucial to experience the benefits high testosterone is associated with. In this video I will explain why high testosterone can be completely useless, what SHBG does, what the optimal range actually is, and how to interpret your blood work correctly. So SHBG is a binding protein released by the liver. Its main role is to transport sex hormones around your body. When testosterone is attached to SHBG, it's not available for the body. It can be aromatized into estrogen and it can be converted into DHT. It can't attach to the androgen receptor, so it can't build any muscle. So basically it does nothing while it's attached to the SHBG. So people who have already heard about SHBG usually have the assumption that the lower the SHBG is, it's the better because you have more free testosterone. To a degree it's true, but it's not fully. So the main role of SHBG is to sustain hormone levels during the day when you are not really producing a lot. So you as a man produce most of your testosterone during while you are sleeping. So the level of testosterone is the highest in the morning and it slowly declines as the day goes on. So SHBG is basically acting as a storage of testosterone, which is circulating in your blood, not available for the body to use, and as the day goes on, slowly more and more testosterone is getting released from the SHBG, so your body is able to use it and you still have sustained androgen levels later when you are not really producing a lot. So really SHBG is something that you want in your body at the perfect range. So you don't want it too low, you don't want it too high, because you can experience certain side effects. So what happens when SHBG is too high and total testosterone is also high? So usually this is the case with many older guys. They have high total testosterone level, so let's say 800, 900, even above 1000 at many cases, but their SHBG is also very high. It's at 70, 80, 90 or even 100 nanomoles per liter, which is really high. So what it means is basically that you are not producing so much testosterone. It's just circulating in your blood and it's not really doing anything. It's not building muscle, it's not improving your sex drive, it's not getting used by your body. So basically it's just staying in your blood, but it's completely useless. So this is a serious problem. If you have high SHBG and high testosterone levels, you can still very easily experience low testosterone side effects, and many people have this problem and they think and they assume that everything is well because my testosterone level is very high. Meanwhile, they don't understand fully how to read blood work and how to evaluate their hormonal health. So what happens if SHBG is too low? Usually this never happens with guys who are natural, but it can happen if you are on TRT or you are taking PEDs. So usually too low levels of SHBG will result in some kind of androgenic side effects, which can be hair loss, which can be acne, you are maybe getting more irritated, and because of the fact that you have higher free testosterone levels in your blood, you can experience more DHT conversion and more estrogen conversion. Some guys can also experience less libido and less anabolism. So basically, the testosterone you are taking is getting converted at a higher rate into estradiol and DHT, and you are not getting the anabolic benefits that testosterone would do because it's not staying in your body as testosterone mostly. So another important metric when it comes to blood work reading is free testosterone. At least you would assume. So free testosterone usually is just a calculated number based on the total testosterone level, based on the SHBG and albumin. Based on the fact that free testosterone is only a calculated number on blood work, I don't think that it's important to test for. It's more important to test for total testosterone and SHBG. In my experience, you will feel good and you will get the anabolic benefits testosterone has to offer for you if your total testosterone is at least 500 or 600. Meanwhile, your SHBG is around 20 to 35. So if you have this combination of total testosterone and SHBG, then I would assume that most likely you feel good, you have a great physique, you have a high libido, and you are not really having low testosterone symptoms. So usually, naturally, people don't have too low SHBG, so we will not even talk about how to increase SHBG naturally. High SHBG naturally usually can happen for many reasons. The main driving factor for high SHBG naturally is usually because of high estrogen. So basically you are too fat, you are converting too much testosterone into estrogen, so your SHBG is also raising in correlation with your estrogen level. Another thing that is very common is too low calorie deficit, fasting or not eating any carbs. So usually I see this happening many times, that people who are doing intermittent fasting or fasting on a regular basis, they usually have high SHBG. And people also who are doing a ketogenic or a carnivore style of diet, when they are not consuming basically any carbohydrates, their SHBG is usually really high. So SHBG is also inversely correlated with insulin. So the more insulin production you will have, the less SHBG you will produce. So if you want to lower your SHBG, then you will need to consume some level of carbs, and I would recommend to do that, especially before and after your training sessions. Also, if you are doing a starvation diet and you are trying to rush the fat loss and you are eating too little, then your SHBG will go up also. So make sure by dieting you are not cutting out carbohydrates fully and you are not going too crazy on the calorie deficit. So how we can change the SHBG? If you are on TRT and you have too low SHBG, you can do a couple of things. Basically, SHBG is raising together with estrogen. So if you suppress estrogen production too much on TRT, then you will have low SHBG. So I would recommend to also check your estrogen level on blood work and making sure that you are keeping it at a healthy range and you are not suppressing it too low. So you are not taking too many aromatase inhibitors, and preferably you are taking none of it, because in my opinion with a good TRT protocol it can be done. Also, if your estrogen is in range and your SHBG is still too high, then you can decrease actually the injection frequency. So you don't need to necessarily inject every day if your SHBG is too low. So if you will decrease the injection frequency 3 times a week only or 2 times a week only, then SHBG and estrogen will elevate a little bit. HCG will be a working tool for sure for elevating SHBG levels, and many people are not doing this on TRT, and in my opinion this is a big mistake. I already made a video about why you should be using HCG while on TRT, and you can check it out at the end of the video. So now let's talk about how to lower SHBG on TRT. So there are some people who have still high SHBG on TRT. It can usually happen for a couple of things. It's, in my opinion, a genetic factor also. But for example, this is what I see with guys who have type 1 diabetes and they are using insulin. So if your SHBG is still too high on TRT, then you can actually increase your injection frequency. So I would try daily administration of testosterone injections. Also, if your estrogen is too high, then you can lower it a little bit. So lower estrogen levels will also result in lower SHBG levels. And also, as far as my experience, the most powerful tool when lowering SHBG is using some kind of DHT-derived anabolic steroid at a very low dosage. So basically you are not using this to get a massive anabolic response, you are just using a dosage enough for lowering SHBG. So DHT, which is dihydrotestosterone, has a higher affinity to binding to SHBG. So if you take a small dosage of DHT-derived anabolic steroid, then it will lower the SHBG drastically. So you have a couple of choices that you can use for this purpose. You can use primobolan, you can use masteron, you can use Enavar, which is oxandrolone and it's in a pill form, or you can use also proviron, which is especially made for this purpose. These would be the things that I would use because these are very safe and low side effect profile compounds, and they are also used medically, at least primo, oxandrolone and proviron. If you found this video helpful, then consider joining my free school community where we can discuss this topic more deeply and freely. Let me know in the comments where is your SHBG sitting at and where is your total testosterone compared to that level and how are you feeling right now.